Thank you for purchasing your brand new carport canopy kit. This kit is sure to provide you years of use and enjoyment. The first step in installing your new carport is to unpack all the items from the pallet and lay them out in a large area so they are easily accessible. Tools of the trade. To assemble your carport, you will require the following tools: a cordless drill with a 5/16 nut driver, a Sharpie marker, chalk line, tape measure, sledgehammer, and 2 ladders, the appropriate height for the structure that you have purchased. Truss assembly. Each carport truss has 3 components: a center bent section and 2 side sections. All sections are designed with a slip fit application, where the side sections slip over the center section. Once the side sections are slipped on the center section, the assembly is completed by driving in 2 self-tapping galvanized framing screws with no washer into each side of the truss. Here is an example of how the truss should be fastened using 4 framing screws on all sides except the top, where your roof sheets will lay. Your carport has a truss every 5 feet. Please completely assemble all trusses before moving to the next step. This is a close-up of a truss connection that is complete. Notice the slip fit and the screw connections. Here we have completed the assembly of all the trusses and have begun the layout of the landing rails that provide the foundation of the carport. Here we begin attaching the legs or uprights of your carport. These uprights are also a slip fit and are attached with framing screws on 2 sides. Continue screwing the uprights on all trusses. Here we begin to assemble the base of the carport. Once again, all pieces are a slip fit connection. Pay attention to the order of all the base pieces, as the 2 end pieces are signified by the upright stub being offset all the way to one end. Securing base pieces, once again, screws on all sides except the side that rests on the ground. Here we are placing the assembled trusses on the assembled bases. Notice, once again, every piece is a slip fit. Here we are completing truss attachment to the base by adding frame screws to all sides. Here we begin staking the carport to the ground using the supplied stakes and a sledgehammer to pound them into the ground. Each stake needs to be driven flush with the top of the base tube. With one side of the canopy staked to the ground, we now use a tape measure to get the right width of carport before staking the other side to the ground. Some adjustment is typically required at this step as different steels have different spring back due to tensile strengths, but overall, the structure will be close to the proper measurement, which is the width you were sold, typically 12, 18, or 24 feet. Once the proper width has been established, the other side of the carport has some temporary stakes installed in an effort to help in squaring the structure up. Here, with a proper width established, a tape measure is run diagonally across the structure. The structure is then moved one way or another until the same measurement is achieved. While measuring from either side of the structure, this is done in an effort to square up the carport. Here we use the chalk line as a giant level. After setting the two end stakes, we rub a chalk line from end to end and push the center in or out to make sure the bottom base does not have a bow. Here, before staking the center stakes of the opposite side, we once again run the chalk line and take any of the bow out of the base steel before staking it. We are now ready to attach the roof sheets to the structure. Please note, we must flip the first sheet over and using a tape measure, first measure 6 inches back from the end of the sheet and then measure across the sheet and mark the center 6 inches back. We then continue and mark the sheet all the way across at 6 inches. This will aid in lining up the first sheet. Here we snap a center line using the chalk string. This chalk line is then used as a guide to place the sheet across the apex of the trusses. Now that the first sheet is attached, use the center chalk line and the marks that were made earlier 6 inches from the ends to line the trusses up with the sheet material. Here we use the colored roof screws provided and place one screw in each valley of the sheet at every truss location. Here we make small adjustments by pulling or pushing the trusses to make sure the center line is maintained. Here the second sheet is placed. Please notice the overlap section. After the second sheet is in place, we begin to fasten it down with the colored screws by first starting on the ends of the sheet. Here, a screw is added to the top of the rib, only where the overlapped rib is present. This overlap screw is used to tie the two sheets together to prevent leakage. Continue adding sheets following the pattern of the previous sheet. Attach the final sheet to each side by running a fastener through the small lip on the sheets. Now that you've completed your carport, it is now ready for years of enjoyment. Thank you for your purchase.